Hello, I'm Kate Ceberano and I'm here to interview a couple of mates of mine for Same Same. We'll be going into their relationship, talking about how they got together, when they got married and the consequences of being married in a culture, certainly here in Australia, where same-same marriage is not as yet accepted, but soon will be. After today's interview, I'm sure you will agree it's the way to go. So guys, first of all, how did you meet? This is, by the way, Daniel Koek, beautiful husband, Rick. How did you meet?
You tell the story.
I was, when I turned 21, I travelled around the world for a year and ended up in the place of my father's birthplace in Holland. And I ended up singing 9 months with the National Touring Opera Company of the Netherlands. And at that stage, Rick worked in the bar at the theatre.
That's right.
And I'd seen him there a couple of times. Nothing really ever happened in the time that I was on tour. But kind of 4 years later, I ended up back in Holland and I sang at a friend's honours recital. And we had a few drinks and we headed back to the bar where Rick used to work. And he wasn't working there anymore, unfortunately. But I asked one of his colleagues, I said, where's Rick gone? Why isn't he here? And she said, oh, he's moved to Sydney for a year to do his Masters in Business and Languages. Because he's one of these smarty pants that speaks 5 of them. So I didn't think anything of it. And then went and did a world tour of Saturday Night Fever, the musical, and finished halfway across the world in Asia. And I thought, well, I may as well go home and see Mum and Dad for a while. And planned when I'm from Adelaide, I'm not from Sydney, where he was. So a friend of mine said, come to Sydney for the weekend, and I did, and at 3 o'clock in the morning I bumped into Rick on the street, coincidentally, and I kind of went up to him and said hello in Dutch, because I thought if it's not him, he won't understand a word I'm saying. And yeah, that was it. I got his email, and we courted via email for about 6 months.
We did.
And had our first date in July in Holland, in Enschede, which is his hometown, which is right on the German border. And that was it. We were married in the November of that same year.
It's funny, you know, because having known you as long as I have, you can tell the entertainer in the couple. He's the one who pipes up with the story. And you, Rick, you just have this beautiful way of allowing Daniel, because Daniel will tell the story, because I've been here before.
But he doesn't tell it right.
No, and there's just this gentle sort of acquiescent yes. So I'm going to direct this next question, and thank you for that, by the way. But I'm going to direct this next question to you, Rick, because it is one question I haven't actually ever asked you, and that is, how did your family respond to the two of you having gotten together, and to you then having gotten married?
Oh, my family was actually absolutely fine with it. They were already aware, of course, that I was gay. That was absolutely fine as well. They met Dan. We were quite happy that he spoke Dutch as well. that always helps.
That was a deal breaker.
Yeah.
No, not a deal breaker.
No, absolutely.
No, it does help.
Yeah.
I mean, my parents speak English, but of course not fluent.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
To get to know each other.
It's actually amazing that you were born in Adelaide, but you are of Dutch heritage, so you speak Dutch incredible.
And fluent, so yeah. No, it clicked really well with my family, so yeah, they were absolutely fine.
What's not to love?
What motivated you guys to get married?
What did?
I think because I never used to feel marriage was an added something to a relationship, but that was really before I met Dan, and yeah. So at that time when we did get together, I thought it was really the next level, just an extra bit of commitment to each other.
And there was no question in my mind that I wasn't going to spend the rest of my life with him.
Exactly. That's
and build a life and have all the challenges and obstacles that a relationship brings. And you know, the fact I got kind of quite used to the fact after we decided that we were going to get married, and it became quite a novelty that I could call him hubby and husband, and you know, the associated things that, you know, heterosexual couples can do and embrace. And
it was funny, wasn't it, when Gypsy asked you both which one was the one in the dress?
Oh yeah.
Coming down the aisle. Which one was what she was actually saying, I think, and I guess this is actually a very an appropriate question. Who was standing and waiting? That's what she was actually asking.
We didn't.
I know, but of course you.
It wasn't a down the aisle thing.
No, we both were hand in hand, and we walked into the ceremony room together and sat down together.
All the family was there, and then
everyone applauded as we walked in. And
Yes,
we'll have to bore you with
this
the
will
video.
be very new for most cultures. It's one of the things, perhaps in Australia, that you will have to become is the poster children for how one gets married in this country. You'll be asked these questions quite a lot.
And I think the crux of that question, Kate, is that the reason we did is because we could.
Right.
You know, it was accepted, it's tolerated, and Holland is such a liberal, like free-minded thinking place, and the people there are kind of the epitome of all those things, you know, and it was the most special day of our lives. And people were there and embraced it, and didn't think twice that we're guys of the same sex. And they saw
there. She's 90.
His 93-year-old grandmother was there. You know, they just embraced the fact that two people were in love and committing themselves to each other in a public way, which is essentially what marriage is.
And then on a more pragmatic note, is it different being married than being de facto?
It is, definitely. I didn't really know what to expect after you got married, but it's definitely another level, like an extra stronger bond, really.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's such a personal thing as well. I love the fact that I'm married to him. And I don't let it go with people either. You know, people who are introduced to as my partner, and you know, people don't know us will obviously refer to him back in conversation as my boyfriend, and I'm like, no, he's my husband. That's, you know, that's what that means to us. And you know, I you know, people may think it's a little bit strange that I will drill that fact, but it means so much more to us, obviously, that we're married and we can be married here, that we, you know, as people, you know, in a show like South Pacific with some profile and stuff, I feel like that I need to be some kind of ambassador for the fact that we can be, and the world is not ending, or blood is not falling from the sky. Or
in and on that note, let's just talk about that for a minute, because you're an entertainer. Do you feel there is any prejudice against, or certainly for musical theatre, for being a gay man?
Oh look, I mean, you can't swing a cat around without hitting a gay in musical theatre.
Indeed. But are there any times where you've ever had your employment compromised?
Never.
Or you felt wonderful?
Never.
So in promoting it and whatnot, nobody's influenced? Because in pop music, you know, they sometimes do.
Yeah, you do realise.
They actually, they will say, we'd rather you didn't come out.
Yeah.
And
and my answer to that, you know, because obviously I'm trying to go the next level, I'm going to want to step outside theatre and go down more of a classical kind of crossover recording artist. And you know, if that bridge ever came to me, then I couldn't be true to myself and be true to the artist that I am if I had to neglect people knowing that that's part of me as a person. I think it's a ridiculous thing to have to ask or be expected to do.
Well, then very well done for, you know, standing up and, you know, having your point of view and being as happy and as successful as you are. Because it's only by your success you see that it becomes, you know, a statement of marriage.
Absolutely.
We'll continue the way we're going.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Kate. Thanks for interviewing us.
Hey, I love it. I love talking to you guys.